The inevitable truth is that your life won't last forever. You think about the people you love deeply, and thinking about it might actually hurt. Have you ever wondered if you missed opportunities to show more love, give more love, or demonstrate more love? There are times in our life when we are reminded that there is nothing more important than love. Because the greatest single need and desire of humanity is love. To love is the greatest power, privilege, and freedom we possess. And every thought, word, and action motivated by love matters. Love is the highest expression of what it means to be human. What I'd like to offer you is the idea to not leave love left undone. There may be things you don't accomplish, attain, or achieve in this world, but don't let shrinking back from love be one of them. If you're fortunate, you discover that love is the only thing that really matters. Love heals everything, and love is all there is. That's why I've started a love wave, an intention to demonstrate the undeniable possibilities when we look at life through the lens of love. After all, as you look back at your life, I'm sure you'll agree that life was always about that. It was all about love. This show is intended to highlight those that are committed, like I am, to bring their experiences, insights, and wisdom to advance what we believe to be true. That love is still the answer. Welcome to Love Wave Live. And we are live. Happy Saturday, everyone. I'm Joe Atalig, your host for this virtual stage that I call Love Wave Live. So have you ever woke up from a pretty good night rest and just felt invigorated just because you had breath? Well, it was kind of like that this morning, and I just started to want to talk to everything that was around me. I mean, I went to use the bathroom, and it was like, good morning, toilet. It's like, thank you for catching my pee. I mean, the littlest things around gratitude can really just shift our energies and our vibration, and just the revelation that was like, wow, I have everything I need just by waking up. And so I am just so thrilled to have a guest today that's going to infuse a lot of energy, and I can't wait to get to her, to introduce her. But before we get started, there's a couple of announcements that I wanted to make. I first wanted to acknowledge a very special person who is responsible for me and allowing me to have my own platform here with this show. And there is a platform called Spirituality Gone Wild, and this is being live streamed on that platform as well. And Debbie Garcia, Debbie G, is the mastermind behind it all. And Karen Palmer is also a partner with Debbie. They just celebrated their third year in bringing spirituality in such a different type of way. I will tell you that the shows on this platform are expanding, and I would encourage all of you to visit spiritualitygonewild.com, and you'll start to see some new shows that are coming on, and profiles of each one of the hosts and speakers. And if it's in your desire to, and your call to do something very similarly, there is on the website to apply to be a host of your own show. So if that does draw at you, then feel free to apply and maybe have a conversation with Debbie. But Debbie G, thank you for all that you do for all of us and for allowing me to have this platform. Two other things I wanted to bring up early on is, y'all know that I have this platform of the Love Wave. Well, an extension of that was launched 2 weeks ago called Love Wave Apparel. And it really is conscious clothing to express ourselves. And there's just so much in terms of apparel that I had no idea. I mean, I'm not a fashion guy. I like nice clothes, but I never thought that I'd actually start an apparel line. And I have a partner who, her name's Jude, and she said, it's kind of like like sharing love by wearing love.
And so we are a go-giver company. And so a portion of our proceeds go to organizations that are doing the work of love. And I've selected 3 of them that are just absolutely incredible. So you'll hear more about that because on November the 29th, I want you to mark your calendars. I'll be having a live event on my personal Facebook page, Joe Atalig, and I'm bringing together 20 minutes to say goodbye to 2020 and 20 minutes to look forward to 2021. It's going to be an evening, 20 minutes of healing, of happiness, and of hope. And I have a lot of surprises that's packed in that 20 minutes. I'm inviting everyone to come and spend 20 minutes together with people across the world in this beautiful moment of healing. So with that being said, I want to introduce my guest today. I can't wait for you all to meet her. Her name is Lisa Eddy. And Lisa, she has always been propelled by holistic true beauty, whole body wellness, and spirituality. She grew up dancing and immediately discovered that being connected to her body through movement was an essential part of her own vitality and being. Now, years before health and wellness became the popular mainstay that it is today, Lisa understood what true beauty and radiance was about. It was about self-love, it was about skin and body rituals, and it was about feeling connected to your own inner spiritual being. Now, committed to learning more about true wellness, Lisa did what not a lot of early 20-year-olds would do, but she hired a personal trainer and a nutritionist in her early 20s and spent years developing her own spiritual practice. And she became a Reiki master, a massage therapist, and a breath work coach, to name a few of her certifications. Now, in addition to cultivating a spiritual healing practice, Lisa has close to 25 years of experience as a skincare professional. I mean, like, Lisa, did you start when you were like 3? Wow, that's amazing. Because not only is she a highly seasoned esthetician, she is also a respected skincare educator and has spent years teaching other professionals the tricks of the trade by working skin and body shows, both domestically and internationally. Now, Lisa is a high priestess, utilizing and teaching acts of sacred beauty, with the belief that how we care for ourselves is sacred and is directly connected with how we show up in the world. Now, Lisa, she empowers now her clients to transform their own skin at home through tried and true lifestyle shifts. And in her practical and down-to-earth style, which you'll get to experience in a moment, Lisa teaches you to prioritize and adore your self-care, your soul care, and skincare rituals to transform you on a deep, holistic level and create the confidence in your skin so you can shine on and off the camera. Now, when she's not making the world beautiful, like literally, she can likely be found riding her bike, samba dancing, meditating under her LED light, hiking, or journaling in her infrared sauna. Now that's some bougie right there. But I want to bring on a very good friend of mine that I've just read recently. I adore her. Without further ado, Lisa Eddy. Welcome to the Love Wave.
Good morning, Papa Joe.
Yes, I'm thrilled to have you. And your title even, the Soul and Skin Mentor, right? Let's start there, right? How do you combine those two in terms of mentoring others with soul and skin, and why those two?
Well, I think that I always say that some of the most beautiful people are connected to their essence, connected to their soul, because it's about shining from the inside out, right? Like, you can sometimes do so much physically, but if your insides are hurting, you won't radiate.
Yeah.
It's really the combination of the two. And I'll delve into that more.
Yeah, awesome. Now, do you have many male clients?
Maybe 10%.
Okay.
I definitely work with mostly women.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm finding that more and more men are taking care of themselves, and including things that traditionally aren't, not necessarily accept. Well, yeah, I guess the mainstream society, depending on where, you don't see that a lot. But I see it more and more. I see more ads and
Yeah,
that's so.
it's definitely changing. And, we appreciate that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, tell us where you reside and a little bit more about the essence of who you are.
Okay. So I grew up just south of San Francisco, and now I'm just north of San Francisco in Mill Valley, California.
Yeah.
And the essence of me, I'm a seeker, I'm a teacher, I'm a healer, I'm a lover. Like, I give all the fucks. Like, I want all the depths. I want like all in. I want to get to know people deeply. I want to live fully. Yeah.
And that shows that just showman you radiate. Now, we are in a group together, and my daughter, Celine, and she, in fact, she goes, I want to watch the show. She,
Hi, Celine.
your energy alone has just really lifted her. And then she wanted to be an esthetician. I don't know. And so last night I told her, I said, I don't know if you knew this, but Lisa is an esthetician, and she actually has a skincare line. She's hugely successful. She's been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. I mean, this girl is like on it. And she's grounded deeply in terms of her beliefs, and her spirituality runs through everything that she does.
Yeah.
And so she may be calling you because I think
love it. I would be honored to talk to her about it.
All right. Well, you and I,
mentoring young women. What were you going to say?
yeah. Well, I was going to say you and I can probably talk forever, but I really would love everyone to hear you, feel you, and learn from you. So, are you ready for the stage?
Yes. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who are live and those who are listening afterwards, I give you Lisa Eddy.
Hello, and thank you for listening. I am really excited to share with you 4 tips to sacred beauty. So I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about what I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you. So kind of how self-care is really about self-love. And my journey getting there to discovering that the true beauty elixir is really owning your own power and beauty from the inside out, kind of the opposite of what we're taught in society, right? Society doesn't usually value the inner beauty as much. It's so much about how we look. And especially today with social media, right? And like filters and injections, so much concern about the outer beauty. And then, well, let me go back and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, but just kind of like how I then came to realize the importance of really not just taking care of ourselves physically and, doing all the things on the outside, but my journey that really took me inside and had me putting the pieces together that I now share. And then I'll give you the 4 tips to sacred beauty and a little bonus today at the very end. So you'll have to stay to the end to watch that. Okay, so my 4 tips to sacred beauty, really understanding what self-care is, and, why I didn't value my inner beauty is what I came to realize was because it was really rejected, as a really strong, attractive, I usually say that my honesty is greater than my modesty. So you might hear me drop some confidence here. So growing up, really like, attractive and powerful and intuitive, especially for women, we're taught that is not good, that is scary for people, that is that's something that is dangerous. And so I learned to reject my own power and beauty at a very young age. And what I was taught was the physical beauty. I was complimented often, by my own family about how beautiful I was. That was really like what I heard. And that was also mirrored outside. And I wasn't really seen on the inside. And so I got away from that piece. And I did all the things to keep my temple beautiful. Though I was still always doing my spiritual work, I was really like, there was a time where even my physical body, where I was almost addicted to working out, because it was like, okay, I had to do Pilates 2 days a week and I had to dance 3 days a week. And, it was like to keep it all up, right? To be loved, to be meant being really beautiful and looking picture perfect on the outside. And so with that, I, basically ended up attracting men who would mirror this story back to me, men who couldn't see my inner beauty. They just saw my physical beauty. And so that included, I think I dated all the narcissists, so no one else has to date them. I can help you with that later. But that included dating narcissists and, men that were lying and cheating because they didn't really value the inside. It was more about the way things looked. And so that would further sort of build on my story of what was important and, keeping me away from my inner beauty and justifying that and trying to squash my power. Like, we're taught that, your beauty and power is scary. And so that was happening over and over and over. And, it kind of culminated with a boyfriend that was about to strike me. And that's when I realized, like, I have got to do something different. I have got to protect myself and my daughter and start changing my life. And so that was a big turning point and of me, like, creating that mission to wanting to help women. Like, really, I've always wanted to help women, and I've been helping women for so long and helping people shine and feel good and beautiful. But it was a deepening of really wanting to help women stand in their power and go from hiding to shining. There are so many powerful, beautiful leaders that are afraid of their own beauty and power for the same reason that I mentioned. And often because they are so powerful that they, people see that and want to squash it and they believe it like I did. So I'm coming to stand up for these women now. And so I went on a mission to go, I answered the call of adventure, and I went to Peru. And in Peru, I ended up meeting the most amazing mentor, Willaroo. He was like, I think he said, he could be like a father to me in age. And I think he said to me the first night we met that when I opened the door, it was like a daughter coming home. And so he's an Incan elder. In Peru, they don't study spirituality, or they don't study careers, they study spirituality, right? The Incans. So this was his journey. And he shared with me so many rituals to helping women heal. So here I was collecting the data on the inner beauty, like, how do we heal from the inside out? And I will tell you, one of the most important things that Willaroo did tell me as a little bonus tip is that, he could not stress enough to get people to go inside to meditate, that we all have inside us a father God, a mother God, a doctor, like the list goes on, but how we can heal ourselves by going inside and taking that time to meditate. And I had already been meditating, but I think that was the point that was a turnaround for me, where it was a non-negotiable, where, okay, meditation is daily, it's essential. That was a huge part of my journey in healing. So thank you, Willaroo, and he's still in my life. He actually came out here in May and will return post-COVID for some more teachings. So I can tell you about that later. Then I also went to Bali. I answered another call to really delve into the depths of healing. And I not only did I meet the most incredible women and have the most beautiful journey there, and just, I also met another mentor who, Isa, ended up becoming, I ended up taking a program with her called the Feel Good Life modality. And this, I think at this point, I didn't even mention I had post-traumatic stress disorder from like the accumulated trauma over my history. And so this was answering a call to really help delve into turning this around. And so Isa is a marriage and family therapist and had, a ton of trauma in her childhood. So she created a program to help people feel good no matter what life throws your way, really learning how to open to our emotions and let them run through us instead of closing off to them, and how that's how they move is when we allow them instead of storing them. So beautiful technique I now teach. So again, collecting this data on like what is inner beauty, and from there, that is where I came up with my like signature system, where I really now have that combination of information to really treat the internal beauty and the topical beauty. Because we can talk about the topical beauty all day long, and I can tell you about the accolades that I've won and all these years of experience and the thousands of women that I have treated and helped and turned their skin around. But without the inner part, it doesn't even matter to me anymore. It's like, this is the real work. this is the true beauty. As I said earlier, that the true beauty elixir is owning our own power and beauty. And that is how we become unstoppable. So what else do I want to tell you? Oh, and then of course, because I have this big commitment and I'm like ready to come out and I've made this commitment now, like I know I want to help women rise and shine and go from hiding to shining and empowering them. That of course, then after I had to be tested now, right, on what I had learned. And so I'm in another relationship, not yet realizing I'm in a relationship with a narcissist again. And we are in a cab in Vegas. He's a doctor in the skincare industry. And I got to tell you that, you know, this is one of those nights where you're like feeling yourself. Like I was looking so good. And what was interesting, I wasn't putting the pieces together earlier when we got back to the hotel after we had left the show. And he was like, you should just wear that dress tonight. I was like, this dress? Like, no, I have a beautiful little dress for this evening. Like it was a cocktail party. You know, like more fancy. And I was wearing a casual dress. So I wasn't realizing why he was saying that to me. And now we're in the cab and I felt so beautiful. I had on this most gorgeous, like silky, you know, a naked dress. So it's like your skin tone and it's like grabbing and has a high slit and like crosses in the back. I mean, it was stunning. And on the way to the event, he says, you should have wore the other dress. I like the other dress better. And I was like, what? Like, you're going to tell me that now on the way to the party? Are you kidding me? And then all of a sudden he goes, yeah, you know those glasses you had on earlier? Because he realized that it didn't work as good as he wanted that comment to work. So you know those glasses you were wearing earlier? Yeah, they didn't really look good on you. And I was like, oh my God. So I realized that he didn't want me to look better than him. He didn't want me to outshine him. He was so insecure that he wanted to, again, squash my power and my beauty. And I was like, no, I'm done. Homie, don't play that anymore, right? So that was like one of those turning points for me where I was like, okay, I am done. I am turning my life around. I actually didn't date for years after this, really. And this is where I got to turn around and just like give back. I decided to align my business with a local domestic violence shelter. They had actually called me when my boyfriend, I had to have a boyfriend arrested that I told you almost hit me. And they called me the next morning. And that was how I found out about La Casa de las Madres. And I can't tell you how good it felt to get a call with someone checking on me after the trauma that I had been through. It's partially where the post-traumatic stress disorder came in. And I knew in that moment that I wanted to give back. I was ready to give back. I lined my business with La Casa de las Madres and started donating some time. And I actually created a t-shirt, and Jojo's got his t-shirt. I got my t-shirt. We call each other Jojo and Lily. It's an inside joke. Yeah, so it was like really that time to step into my power and I don't want women to have to go through the trauma and abuse, the emotional abuse, which I say is sometimes even worse than physical abuse. It was very clear when Marco almost hit me that it was like, whoa, no. But with emotional abuse, it's really confusing. And so it really is disempowering. And unfortunately, you know, with domestic violence, these are the people that we love and trust the most that are actually hurting us. So it's really confusing, right? And so you'll hear more about that later, but I donate proceeds to La Casa de las Madres, and I created a t-shirt, and I am waiting to be trained with them in their trauma training when they're having the classes again so that I can actually work on their hotline. And so I guess I should get into my 4 tips for sacred beauty for the inner and outer, because it's a combination. I'm going to give you 2 of each. So for the inner beauty, we'll start there because I do think that is the missing link often. I created an intentional beauty, or it's a piece of sacred beauty, an intentional beauty regimen where when you're doing your regime, this is a really special time for you to take care of yourself, right? So when you're washing your face in the morning, for example, like really spending that time massaging your skin and with your cleansing, you can also be like throwing down your roots visually. Like imagine calling yourself into this moment, feeling your fingers on the skin. You can even do a walkthrough in your day and like imagine how your day is going to go. Like, oh, things are always lining up for me, and I'm going to get the perfect parking spot, or this meeting is going to go this way. Because when we do the work in the ethers, again, this is part of the inner spiritual beauty work. When we do the work in the ethers, things line up easier on the physical plane. So using this time to, you know, really love yourself and create your day, throw down your roots, calling all of me right here, right now. Those are the things I do and teach people to do during their morning regimen. And then in the evening, to utilize your regimen in a special and sacred way is you can imagine washing off your day. Like, you know, just kind of getting rid of anything that is, you know, that didn't work for you today. And also then thanking the day. So as you're washing is when you're kind of removing and splashing and thinking about what you're leaving behind. And then as you're putting on your skincare products, you're thinking about like what you are, you know, grateful for. And, you know, it's a great, like maybe 5 tips that you're grateful for at the end of the evening, and kind of sealing that in as you're sealing in your serums. So that is one of the inner beauty. And a second one of the inner beauty that I cannot stress enough is H2O, water. Most people are chronically dehydrated and don't even realize it. So if you take your body weight and you divide it by 2, that gives you the number of ounces that you need per day. That's your baseline waking, what your body needs to function rate. And then for any cup of caffeine or alcohol, you counterbalance cup for cup. So it's important if you know that, okay, like you typically have 2 cups of coffee, or if you typically have a glass of wine, then that should be factored in. So now if you're like, say 140 divided by 2, 70 ounces is the baseline. But if you're telling me you have 2 cups of coffee, we just got to 86 ounces because 8 and 8, 16, right? Now, if you tell me you have a glass of wine at night, now we've got another 8 ounces on top of that. So do you see how important it is to really factor this in? Because most people do not get enough water. And I'll tell you the downside to not getting enough water. Not only are all of your organs taxed, like think about it, you wouldn't drive a car on low gas or oil, partially because it would break down, but your body is so freaking brilliant, it won't break down, but it will suffer in many ways. And it actually will pull water from your muscles, which people don't realize. And we don't want to do that. So, and in addition, it also taxes your digestive system. A lot of times, just FYI, people that have digestive issues are also really dehydrated. So when you're drinking enough water to flush the gunk out of your body, that it will prevent it sometimes, or at least ease it from coming out of your skin, because whatever's coming out, your pee, your poo, or your sweat, is coming out your skin. So just FYI, that can help with breakouts. It also is, I say, one of the pieces of the fountain of youth is hydration internally and topically. So I cannot stress that enough for the benefits of hydration. And if you need to, put alarms on your phone. If you're not in the habit of it, break it down like 4 times throughout the day. So you have an alarm pop up and then you're like, oh, okay, got to get that in, you know? So you're not chugging it all at night and then staying up peeing all night. Okay, and then for the outer beauty, let's see, cleansing. This is another one. This is one of my best kept beauty secrets that people don't often realize, that it really takes time to get truly clean skin. So really taking that time, massaging your cleanser in. Of course, it needs to be the right product, but that's another topic. It's 2 minutes, massage, you know, going over your face and neck, just gliding and no pulling. You don't need any tools, you know, just gently gliding over your face, adding water as you need for slip. So you can really kind of work that in if it goes in, and wash your neck too. People sometimes forget about that. And of course, morning and night, we want to be cleansing, right? And so really taking that time, massaging the cleanser in, it does several things. When we don't have truly clean skin, we've got a barrier there, meaning your serums, hopefully some, you know, really active serums, would be blocked if you're not cleaning really well, right? And moisture too can't even get in, right? And then you can also be breaking out. If you're not cleaning really well, you're putting a moisturizer on top of dirty skin, okay? So that is huge. And then the other outer beauty tip would be serums that are non-toxic and that actually really get in the skin. Not only do you have to have them clean, right? You have to have your skin really, really clean so that the serums can get in, and it's all about the penetration. It's one of my big jokes. So we want it really on clean skin, use really active non-toxic serums that are driving, that are able to get into the skin deeply, because that is where the change occurs. And serums are what change your skin. Like, of course, we've got to clean, we've got to moisturize, you know, and sunscreen, but like, how do we change our skin? It's really active, clean, safe, non-toxic serums. And I can help you with that if you want more information. And I have a little bonus for you guys today. So if you want to get in the DMs, and you can either DM me on here on Facebook or on Instagram at I am Lisa Eddy. Tell me what specifically, so I can help you with a specific skin condition that you're having. Is it dry skin that is wreaking havoc for you? Loose skin, like, are you noticing, you know, your neck, or, you know, you're just, the skin isn't as tight as it used to be as we grow up? Are there wrinkles that are bothering you, like smile lines or the 11? Or is it discoloration, like melasma with hormonal changes, and just women in general being on or off the pill? You know, discoloration can occur with pregnancy, and sun exposure, and the wrong harsh products. So DM me right now and let me know which skin condition you want help with, and I'll send you a personal tip. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the 4 tips to sacred beauty and my journey. Hi.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I want to dive into a couple questions, actually, based upon what you shared.
Okay.
Let's start with your definition of inner beauty. What is inner beauty?
Well, you know, that's, well, some of the practices, you mean, or just like, what is it to be? It's your heart. It's your intuition. It's your love. It's you radiating your love, right? Your soul, your source, right? Mm-hmm. When we're connected and really tapped in, and I was saying earlier how we shine from the inside out. It's those things. It's being congruent with who you really are. Right? That's where doing the work to remove some of these beliefs or, you know, fallacies that we're holding in our body that is keeping us from really loving ourselves.
Yeah. Right. And so what was your, what milestones, or what things did you experience where it was on your path to self-love? Because I know part of what you not even promote, but what you live is self-care equates to self-love.
Yes, it does.
And so it becomes many times very trendy around self-love. You know, I love myself. And many times I find it actually from an arrogant perspective. I love myself versus the passion that people have for themselves. You know, so share about that, the idea of self-care equating to self-love.
Yeah, that is a good one. And so I think I'm remembering right now as you say this, I've had so many different healing mentors over the years, because this has been a journey for a really long time. I remember a woman helped me like change my inner dialogue, right? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes we're abusive to ourselves via the way we talk to ourselves, right? And had me pretend I was taking care of someone that I love the most, which should be me. Like, it was like, I didn't have a child then, but she was like, pretend it's your daughter or your niece or someone you love the most. Like, how would you talk to them? And so that helped me really start to change the inner dialogue. I'm like, what would I do for her? What does she need right now? And it was like, you know, when you're struggling with something and you could be hard on yourself, but then it's like, you know, I would say something very different to my daughter, like, sweetie, you're doing great, honey. This happens to everyone. Do you want me to, honey, do you need some tea? What do you want me to, you need to take a bath, sweetie, right? Like that. Like that's starting to turn around the inner dialogue and the care for oneself. And sometimes it has to be through that lens of like, what would you do for someone you love the most as we're building our self-love?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Now, early on, you were talking about how you were attracting men who would mirror things back to you. What would you say to women and or men around being aware, right, of the patterns that happen in relationships based upon fulfilling voids that only they can fill?
What would I say? Did you say to men or women?
Well,
piece of that.
I guess to anyone who has that pattern of attracting, you know, really not what they need, right? In terms of a partner and or, you know, the patterns in terms of how they.
Right. There's a lot of unpacking to be done. And so I mean, the most simple version, I would say that whatever is showing up in our life is happening for us, not to us. So what is my gift? What is my lesson? So that we start to like soften the blow on something and look at why is this showing up, right? But when we're coming from like pushing it away, right, and judging you can't do that. So starting to like just get curious about, I think would be one of the first steps is like, what is showing up in my life and why? And then, doing some of these work. That's why I created my signature system to help people work on the inner beauty. I think there's a lot of steps to it, like really putting yourself first. Like, there's journaling, meditating, like there are certain like techniques and modalities that I've gathered that helped me be able to really put it all together, because it does start inside. But I think we have to look at, I actually took a break from dating for a while so that I could clean up my act and clean up my and change what I was attracting. But it very much came from my story. It was what I was used to. It was how my father was. It was,
Yeah, absolutely. I want to shift just slightly in terms of your business and how you've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years, right?
Mhm.
Like, what happens to a young person where they embark on something and then the longevity, right? What do you recall in your life that actually flipped the switch on that? And then the decision that you had to make, right? I'm not going to work for anyone else. I'm going to work for myself. And this somewhat empire that you have, created. So share about that.
Yeah. So my father was an entrepreneur. So I think I was learning a lot from my father without even realizing it. And I've always kind of been like super independent, do things my own way, walk to my own beat. And I'm giggling because I'm saying like, I like to do shit my way too, right? And so working at spas, spas can be really disorganized, really poorly managed. And then if you're trying to do a facial, which are to change someone's skin, and you have to use these particular products that you do not like or that are toxic or they're crap behind the scenes, that I was like, I got to do what I want. So that was a huge piece in it, right? And then just always like being a freedom seeker, right?
Yeah.
I opened my own business at 27. So it was that calling to be able to do it my way and to really provide high quality care. And I would say that the path, I always say that being an entrepreneur, like a parent, is the fast track to spiritual evolution and consciousness and personal development and growth, if you allow it to be so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You asked something else in there about like, the journey. Yeah, it's just it's a fun ride. And it has evolved quite a bit. And with COVID, I was thrilled to pivot. Like I was actually said goodbye to my space in San Francisco immediately and turned around and started doing all virtual treatments. And I'm absolutely loving it, and my program as well.
Awesome. While we're on the subject of you really modeling and having success, your business venture, I'm looking at those that are in the chat, and many of them are also, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs.
Yeah.
What are one or two things that you would say were our mainstays in your longevity, or being, working for yourself, or, taking what you're passionate about? What would you say to them are the key factors of longevity?
Okay, so an inner piece would be like, I knew, I mean, it always kind of worked out because I grew up dancing. But as soon as I opened my business, I realized that not working out was a non-negotiable. Like I had to work out really regularly for my head. I always say I work out for my head and the body is a benefit.
Mm.
So that, and then I hired coaches right out the gate. I've hired so many incredible coaches, but seriously, like immediately, I knew one as I was in school who was really successful in the industry, and he was my first business coach. So always staying up and mentoring yourself and pushing yourself to the next level.
Right. And in terms of coaches,
Mm-hmm.
so you hired a business coach specifically, right?
He was also a spa. He was in the spa industry.
Okay.
I took a course of his, so it was like the perfect match.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important that coaches have coaches. Right.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay, so I'm looking back. I wanted to just bring something up here. So to talk about self-care, Simon, who's in the UK, says self-care can be tied up in habitual behaviors, which can be difficult to shift.
Hi, Simon. Absolutely. That is because a lot of our habits we're not conscious of, right? Yes. That's one of the modalities that I learned from my mentor, Isabel Tierney, that I met in Bali, is the feel good life modality that I teach people is about changing habits. So I have a whole system around that. And sometimes we can get kidnapped by like our brain kind of goes to another place when we get on automatic. So awareness, I would say meditation is essential. Like one of the first things to do, if you're not meditating now, at least bring that step in, and then get somebody to help you work with habits. If not me, like work on your habits, like journal. What are you doing? What isn't working? Like be honest with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Kelly here. Kelly, thank you for coming. I started caring for me with coffee. I asked myself if someone came over, I would make them a special coffee brew special for me now. So some of her rituals in terms of self-care.
I love
So
that.
very awesome.
It's like Kelly knows that I'm a coffee fiend.
Okay. uh,
That's sweet.
Gwen, I work out for my head and the body is a benefit. Just affirming,
Yeah.
that's some great quips.
Mm.
All right, beautiful. So what's the future look like for Lisa Eddy? In the success you've had, I think what's really cool, I believe you're really in your groove. I mean, in the short time I've gotten to know you, you've reached such great, massive success. Yet I know that there are other dimensions of what you would like to either create, have, be, and do. So share more about that, Lisa.
Well, once we're free to move about the planet again, part of my plan is to, take women on spiritual retreats. Like I had met the mentor in Peru. I will, to be taking people there. Going to sacred sites is like 1,000 hours of meditation. It's like saying why we say prayers, why we have symbols in Reiki, right? Because there's so much energy and healing wrapped up in them.
Yeah.
So bringing that into retreats and really rocking my programs and reaching out and being able to be more of an advocate, like I said, for domestic violence for women and children when I can get that training.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm bringing up some more comments here.
Yeah.
Yes, and when you were talking about a morning ritual, and what was cool was as you were explaining it, right? I mean, I'm a visual person, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm washing my face, thinking you said walking through your day, and something that's really, really cool. So she says here, a morning ritual like this to love, nourish, and beautify, and tap into our true abundant selves.
Hi, Jude.
Yeah, and so I think one of the things that I pictured was actually like being in the moment and just like as you're caring for your skin, really like not just going through the motions, but like feeling like your skin. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. I mean, and it's those type of moments where you start the depth of gratefulness begins to come out. It's not just a routine.
Yeah, like the pee-pee this morning, the toilet, right? Like
yeah, I was taking my toothbrush. It was like, thank you, toothbrush. Hi, good morning. Like, please, like, take care of and it's just, I don't, just the littlest things, right? It makes you stop to smell the roses and those in the moment type things. It's just amazing how those little things can shift us subtly yet powerfully.
There's something else I want to say about that with our body. A lot of people are so hard on their bodies and rejecting our bodies and like, oh, you want them to be thinner or stronger or look this way, or we just beat up on ourselves. So even like, thanking your body as you're doing your facial, like I would put on body lotion morning and night and love your body up, especially if you're having some of those thoughts that I just mentioned. That's part of the self-care of how we turn things around, is by how we talk to ourselves and how we treat ourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's foreign to a lot of people.
Yeah.
What does it do for just that act alone and being in the moment and, taking, care to appreciate that. When I had a live event last year,
Yeah.
one of the speakers, her talk was actually "Love Your Body,"
Hmm.
and she transformed. She had a before picture, and she's beautiful, but then she became a competitive bikini model.
Mm.
Bikini. It was like bodybuilding,
Yeah.
and her sister was a yogi, and she started to learn this appreciation for the body. And she said when she would apply lotion, she said it was the most like spiritual, and I thought about it. I'm like, well, so of course, because maybe I'm a dude and I'm not, didn't do that like really be in the moment. But when she spoke, I remember the following week doing that and going, this is amazing,
It
right?
felt good, right? It felt like loving yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we fill up our own cup, we have more to give.
Yeah.
Right? Like it makes me a better mom when I'm loving myself and receiving love, which, speaking to my daughter, you know what she says to me the other day? Cause I've got her doing her skin regimen. She says, Mom, I'm going to look even better than you. Cause I've started even younger than you. She's 10.
Oh,
Awesome.
there's a comment here. I'm not sure from Simon. Simon, let's see. Let me put Simon up here. Is this it? Using the Choku Ray symbol for face washing. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, of course. I love it.
Simon, I want you on the show. You got to come on. Okay. He's in the UK.
You're a Reiki master, yeah? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
Well, so in Reiki, there's 4 different symbols that you use. And, again, there's so much power in the symbols. And so, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank exactly what the Choku Ray was, but sometimes it's swirl. I'm having a hard time making the movement, but I would even put it on my hand. Like if you're waving at someone, I would imagine the Choku Ray on my hand as I'm waving and sending healing energy to people. Like there's so many fun ways you can spread love in the world.
Absolutely. Very cool. All right. We are coming here towards the end, and I wanted to ask you a few questions that I asked pretty much all the guests.
Yeah.
So I wrote a few different things down. So, okay, I want you to finish this sentence. I feel the most loved when.
I feel the most loved when. Oh my gosh, why is that question hard to answer? How do I feel the most loved when? Can I come back to this one? It's hard. Why am I having such a hard time answering that question? Because I feel love in so many ways. I just had 2 friends here and they took care of me. I have to say, when someone is feeding me and like taking care of me through food and love and like good coffee, like that feels really loving.
Is your love language acts of service?
Yeah, that's what I like to hear it. Actually, my love language is words of affirmation and touch. I do like to hear how much people love me and how wonderful I am.
So you have 3 love languages, maybe.
Well, I want it all.
While you're serving me, telling me how amazing I am, right? And then touching me, it's like, and then hold me,
Okay, that.
Why not? All of it.
That's why I could just pick one. I was like, well.
You're trilingual, right?
Exactly.
I love it. That's cool. All right. If you were given the gift of being provided a blank billboard that was going to be seen by thousands through metropolitan cities, and they knew it was your billboard, what would the billboard say?
Well, right now I have on my mind your true beauty elixir is owning your true power and beauty. I don't know. Love is the sacred medicine. That's what I would say. That's what I put on my T-shirt for that I give proceeds back for domestic violence.
Love is a sacred medicine.
Yeah.
That's it. I love it. All right. And then lastly, if you were only able to be known by your words, What would those words be?
Um, hmm.
Hope
You.
you don't say that. Is that
I like to be prepared for shit, Joe.
what-
Why you tell me this?
I didn't tell you this part, did I?
No, sucker. Sorry, I almost had an answer and then I started messing around. What's the question again?
The question is, if you could only be remembered by your words only, what would those words be?
You are enough. You are loved. You are loved.
You are loved. You are loved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
profound. That's huge. Awesome. So Lisa, I know that for those of you who want to be in touch with Lisa, I invite you to reach out to her. You can find her at lisaeddy.com and on Facebook and Instagram, both the same handle, which is at I am Lisa Eddy. Lisa, thank you for gracing us with your presence, your insight, your wisdom, your beauty, both inner and outer. And I'm just so happy that you came on to the virtual stage. Thank you.
So it was such an honor. You are such an incredible being and a wonderful role model for the divine masculine, for men coming into their true power, which is also centered in the heart, right? So thank you. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday. My guest will be New York Times bestselling author Jim Palmer. He has written 5 best-selling books out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he's going to be talking about love, like the real love that has grit and teeth, the love that I love to talk about. So join us next Saturday. Bye, everyone. Love is still the answer. Mwah. Take care, everyone.